Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. But we have got to have a conversation. There's a few things. There's some breaking news that I got to share with you guys. It's a trial. It's a case that I've been following, following on the side. And there is some breaking news about this. And so I want to share that with y'all because it's absolutely insane. It brings a smile to my face, to be completely real. It brings a smile to my face when justice is served. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me very happy when justice is mother-loving served. But before we get into everything that just happened, literally just a little bit ago, don't worry, I'll explain everything in just a little bit, okay? But I just want to show you guys the verdict. That's it. Just the verdict so you guys know what's going on. Because it's a case I've talked about on the show in the past. I've been on Court TV talking about it as well. So we definitely have got to talk about that. But before we get into it, please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Subscribe. Please and thank you right here on the Pascal Show. That would be amazing because we talk about everything on this platform, everything from true crime to pop culture and the politics and everything in between. So please make sure you're subscribed, hit that notification bell, set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. All right. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support the channel if you can. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got to get into this thing that just broke. It's breaking news right now, and I know that some of y'all may not know about this case about Kouri Richins. Now, Kouri Richins, okay, was on trial. They were calling her basically the grief author. It was the grief author murder trial. Okay, she was accused of taking the life of her husband by basically poisoning his drink, only for him to die from drinking that poisoned drink. Then later on, after husband was gone, passed away and everything, she went on to write a children's book about basically mommy, where it's kind of like a grief type of children's book on how to deal with losing a loved one, especially someone so close like your dad, right? She wrote a children's book, y'all, which is absolutely insane. So, of course, there's been a lot of speculation about whether or not she actually did poison her husband or not. Only to find out that she was also having an extramarital affair and all this other things as well. Of course, there's also the speculation about the possibility of her actually taking his life so that she can scoop some serious money, life insurance, etc. So this is a very, very strange thing, a very wild case. And this woman, she is a piece of work. She is straight up, let me just show you her face. Okay, she is definitely a piece of freaking work. First and foremost, they just did closing arguments. And guess what? They already have the verdict. The verdict is already in, y'all. Woo! Yeah, the verdict is already in. You know for a fact it's Bad News Bears. When they were literally debating, they were deliberating for a couple hours. Deliberation only happened for a few hours. And then next thing you know, they already had a subscription. They already had a verdict. That's insane. That clearly shows to you what the verdict's going to be. So we got to take a look at this. And we already know, because you guys see it in the title right now, but we got to watch it. We got to watch this. All right? I just love when justice is served. It makes me feel really good. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel very, very good. And the thing is the entire trial, she's smirking, she's rolling her eyes, she's doing all this extra stuff like, oh, I didn't do any of these things, but she did. Okay? As much as she could sit there and try to make it seem like she didn't do anything at all, she mother loving did that. I just feel bad for her kids. Because now the kids are without mom and they're without dad. Ain't that crazy? But she is terrified. I got to roll it back before we look at, the verdict and how she takes it. Okay? This is crazy, though. We have to take a look at this. This just broke, so we have to watch this.
Ms. Richins, it is my practice to ask all the lawyers and the defendant to stand in respect for the jury as I read the verdict. I just don't want you to be surprised. Okay. Mr. Bloodworth, are we ready?
I'm going to skip ahead. Yeah, she's terrified. Knees weak, arms are heavy. You know what I'm saying? Mom spaghetti. Well, she gonna get it. She gonna get it. She gonna get it. They literally just did closing arguments, y'all. Literally just did closing arguments. And now, woo! Just saying. Oh, that's sweet, Lisa. Thank you so much for saying that. That means a lot. I always flip around from news channel to news channel. It's easier and more entertaining to have Pascal do it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That really means the world to me. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, I just love when justice is served. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit more because, honestly, clearly she's terrified. This dirty, dirty bird is about to be served. Hold on.
Come in.
Jury's coming in. Now she sits down.
Ladies and gentlemen, with
here we
the
go.
Person you've selected, please stand. May I ask you a yes or no question? Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict? Yes, we have. Would you please hand the verdict form to the deputy, and you can have a seat. Thank you.
They were not deliberating very long, guys. They were not deliberating very long at all. Okay? Which is insane.
All right. Counsel, Ms. Richins, please stand.
She had a whole mother-loving team. Look at all these people.
Count 1, aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously agree that the prosecution has proved the following circumstance or circumstances regarding count 1 beyond a reasonable doubt. The homicide was committed for pecuniary gain, and the homicide was committed by means of the administration of any substance administered in a lethal amount, dosage, or quantity.
She planned that.
Count 2, attempted aggravated murder. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of attempted aggravated murder.
Goo.
We, the jury, unanimously agree the prosecution has proved the following circumstances or circumstances regarding count 2 beyond a reasonable doubt. The attempted homicide was committed for pecuniary gain. Count 3, insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance fraud. Count 4, insurance fraud. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of insurance fraud. Count 5, forgery. We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Kouri Richins, is guilty of forgery. It's signed by the foreperson.
Yo.
Please have a seat.
Yo.
Madam Foreperson, is this the verdict that the jury reached unanimously?
Yes, it is.
Okay, you may have a seat. Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor, do you wish the jury to be polled?
Yes, please.
All right. Folks, I'll ask you the same yes or no question, one at a time, starting on my left, working this way. Front row first. If you could show me your lanyard number as I ask you. Juror number 5, is this the verdict you voted in favor of? Yes. Juror number 4, is this the verdict you voted in favor of? Juror number 3.
Is she guilty?
I can't see your norms.
Are you sure she's
the
guilty?
Foreperson, I just need to ask you again. I'm sorry. Juror number 2.
Yes.
Your norms.
Are you sure
As
she's
the
guilty?
foreperson. Juror number 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sir. Juror number 8.
Yes.
Juror number 7.
Damn right, Robin.
Juror number 6.
Damn right.
Counsel, is there anything further on this case before the jury is discharged? Mr. Bloodworth.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Lewis.
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this trial is now finished. Thank you for your service. The American system of justice relies on your time and your sound judgment, and you have been generous with both. You serve justice by your fair and impartial decision. All of my previous admonitions are now lifted. You may speak about this case with anyone or with no one at all. It is entirely up to you. You might be contacted in the future by the press or by the lawyers. You do not have to talk with them or with anyone else, but you may if you would like. The choice is yours entirely. I'm now turning to the attorneys and instructing them to honor your wishes as officers of the court if you indicate that you do not want to talk about this case. If you do talk about the case, please respect the privacy of your fellow jurors. The confidences they may have shared with you during deliberation are not yours to share with others. Thank you, all of you, for your service. Please rise for the jury.
They did good. They did good, jury. Good job, jury. Good eye, jury. Good eye. Walk it off. Walk it off. All right.
All right, please have a seat. Ms. Lewis, we need to get a pre-sentence investigation report, and we need to set sentencing. I imagine, Mr. Bloodworth, that the state would request that that be special set.
Yes, Your Honor.
He is very calm.
Ms. Lewis, does defendant waive the 45-day limit for sentencing?
Yes, we will.
All right. Let me call up my calendar. Should we be looking in May, Ms. Lewis?
That's fine.
Do you have a sense of it, Mr. Bloodworth? April is not possible. In May, do you have a sense of when
Okay.
it would be appropriate?
I'm going to mute this really quick so I can just explain to you. I'm going to read this off screen. Okay, so you can understand a little bit more, because I know some of y'all are walking in like, what the hell is going on here? I know some of y'all are savvy, but some of y'all are not. Okay, so this is a little bit of true crime realm. All right, this is a little bit in the true crime realm. Oh, wait, hold on. What's this? Wait, hold on.
With anyone?
Don't know what that was all about.
Your Honor, any day in May works.
Oh, okay. Family.
Without having to move something, which
All
I
right.
am, of course, willing to.
So, of course, they're trying to figure out like when her sentencing is going to be. But nonetheless, she has been found guilty on all counts. All right. All counts. She is screwed. Okay. It's done. She's bad. She's a bad person. She's a bad girl. And it's crazy that she wrote a children's book after the fact, which is insane. Okay. So she still even wanted to find a way to scoop even more bags off of the demise of her husband that she murdered. Okay. So Kouri Richins, the woman right here, this sad sack of a human being right over there. Okay. You know, this very colorful shirt that she's wearing right there. She ain't gonna be wearing that kind of colors no more. Okay, you feel me? Okay, orange is the new black. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so here it is. Oh, Pete Cooper, May 13th sentencing is on Eric's actual birthday. That is insane. So Eric Richins is her husband. He lost his life. He was murdered. Now she's been convicted of it. She murdered her husband in 2022. Okay. She wrote a book, a children's book, after his death. All right. Talking about coping with grief. Now, the book was called Are You With Me? Which is a children's book. Now, a little bit of a case overview of what is actually going on with this whole situation and why she was found guilty. So the incident happened on March 4th, 2022. Eric Richins was found dead at the foot of his bed in their Kamas, Utah home. Okay. An autopsy later determined he died from a lethal dose of oral fentanyl, 5 times the lethal amount, which prosecutors believe was slipped into his Moscow Mule cocktail that was made by this woman right here, Kouri Richins. Now, she claimed through this trial that he had like some sort of substance abuse issue, that maybe he wanted to end his life because of some financial issues and financial distress, but none of that actually stuck. Okay, pretty bad. Now the charges she faces, she faced multiple felony counts, including aggravated murder, attempted aggravated murder, related to a previous alleged poisoning attempt on Valentine's Day. So she tried to take him out on Valentine's Day, no less, okay? Insurance fraud and forgery, which she has been found guilty on all those counts, by the way, all right? So the motive, prosecutors argue, Kouri was in severe financial distress with a negative net worth of roughly $1.6 million and millions in debt. They claim she unalived Eric to collect over $2 million in life insurance and gain control of his $5 million estate to fund her house flipping business and a quote unquote fresh start with a paramour. In other words, her side D. Yeah. That new side D. Yeah. So we saw we didn't see the closing arguments, but the closing arguments happened today. Literally, the live stream was look, the live stream is happening. Okay, this is them doing closing arguments. Yeah, that's them having closing arguments right there. Now we just jump a few hours later, and they already said, "Ooh, verdict has been, verdict. Where is it? Verdict reached only hours into this mug." Hours after their closing arguments. The jury already walked in and they're like, yeah, she did that. Ain't no way this is going to change what we think. Sorry, she did that. Guilty? Yeah, she guilty. It doesn't seem like there was a huge debate, a huge amount of pushback. You see what I'm saying? Done. She is screwed. So she tried to make it seem like something else, but it wasn't. And she saw an opportunity to say, hey, let me take this mother lover out so I can get out of my financial my financial issues. He's got bags of money. let me just try to get that money. Oops. I actually made the right amount of, I used the right lethal dose this time to try to take him out, which is insane because she tried to take him out one time before on Valentine's Day. And apparently it didn't work. Then she did it again. I'm sorry. I'm just reading this off screen, okay? Just so you understand. All right? Just so you understand. So, attempted aggravated murder related to a previous alleged poisoning attempt on Valentine's Day. So, several weeks before he actually did lose his life, she tried to take him out. And the question I still have in my mind is, and no disrespect, may Eric rest in peace, but if there was an attempt to try to take him out before, why would he ever take anything from her? You see what I'm saying? Why would I would not ever trust her, not once, with not anything that I'm ingesting, food, drink, or otherwise. Ain't that crazy? So she tried before, it did not work out, and then she tried again and it worked. Yeah. So this piece of trash is going bye-bye for a very, very long time. And I'm happy for it. Yeah! That's how you drive, man. That's how you drive, jury. That's how you drive. Okay? So, she gone. I'm very happy about it. It's just insane to me that she would go out of her way to try to come off like she didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? I hate when the guilty they try such stupid trash. They try so much to move the goalpost to make it seem like they're so innocent, but they're not. They ain't. They're bad people, okay? When they do something bad, they do something bad, and they should just be like, yep, I did it, and take responsibility and keep it moving. It is insane to me that you would think in your head that you could walk away from the situation. Not guilty. Sorry, but that's just absolutely insane to me. But just wanted to give you guys that for those of y'all who need your true crime fix. Okay, I know we haven't been doing much true crime conversation over here as of late because we've been busy talking about what's going on in Iran, right? And there's some other things that are going on too, which we need to talk about. But most importantly, we definitely need to talk about what the hell is going on in Iran. And Trump did have a couple press conferences today that we saw. One of them, but then he had another one. Another one with Vice President J.D. Vance there as well. It's been a very interesting day, to say the least. Okay, now you got the allegations of the new supreme leader, Ayatollah Jr. Maybe he bats for the same team. He might be gay. I don't know. There's some wild stuff that's going on. It's very strange, but nonetheless, we don't know whether or not Netanyahu is still alive or not. Then here's the other thing too. Here's the other side of the situation. A lot of people are wondering if Mojtaba Khamenei is still alive too. That's very strange, don't you think?
Now to the Middle East, the United States and Israel pounding targets inside Iran incessantly at this point. President Trump.
And it really bothers me now that everybody's using pounding. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know I'm 12, but at the same time, it's just Trump's like, we do a lot of pounding. There's a lot. We're enjoying the pounding. And it's like, really, we're here. We're talking about pounding. Okay. We're talking about pounding. Okay. And now she's saying it. The pounding continues. Like, P-Hub
says that radical Islamic regime's air defenses are being decimated. CENTCOM with an update.
To date, our Air Force, Navy, and Marine Corps aviators have collectively flown more than 6,000 combat flights, demonstrating the unmatched capability of America's joint force. We continue to remain centered on our military objectives. These are well-defined and include eliminating Iran's ballistic missiles, drones, and naval threats. It's one thing to defend by striking launchers and intercepting missiles and drones, but it's another thing to eliminate the wider manufacturing apparatus behind them. And we are doing that today.
Let's take a look together. Before and after photographs show the destruction of the Iranian military infrastructure, from drone factories to storage depots. The scope of the conflict is widening now. So from left to right of your screen, what was and now what isn't. Israel announced the start of ground operations targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah terrorists in Lebanon today. And I'm going to ask Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar about that in a moment with an exclusive here on the Faulkner Focus. First, let's go to Trey Yinks in Tel Aviv. Trey.
Harris, good morning. We're now in week 3 of Operation Epic Fury, and overnight the Israelis announced they've launched a ground operation into southern Lebanon. Officials telling Fox News this is considered limited right now, but we have some new video of Israeli forces there bringing the fight against Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah. You can see in this video taken overnight, these ground troops are supported by tanks and additional ground units that are being used to go slowly into this Hezbollah-controlled territory and try to push back against the incoming rocket fire and ground attacks that are being launched by this proxy group. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz saying this earlier today.
The IDF has begun a ground maneuver in Lebanon to remove threats and protect the residents of the Galilee and the north. The hundreds of thousands of Shiite residents of southern Lebanon will not return to their homes south of the Litani region until the safety of the northern residents is guaranteed.
The Israelis still striking Lebanon across the board, hitting the Dakhia neighborhood of southern Beirut. You can see the aftermath video here. This is a Hezbollah stronghold where the terror group uses buildings to launch their commands for attacks against Israel. Even earlier today, sirens sounding across northern cities amid incoming drone and rocket attacks. The Israelis still looking to the east, though, where they are launching alongside U.S. forces new strikes against the Iranian regime, targeting infrastructure in the capital of Tehran and also going after many of those ballistic missile launching positions in the western part of the country. They say they've taken out 70% of those launchers so far. International focus, though, still remains on the Strait of Hormuz amid incoming Iranian attacks against Gulf countries and a new statement over the weekend by Iran's foreign minister.
Absolutely insane.
The Americans are asking for other countries to come and help them so that the Strait of Hormuz remains open, which, of course, from our perspective, is open. It is only closed to our enemies, to those who carried out unjust aggression against our country and to their allies.
It's easy for the foreign minister of Iran to say that the Strait of Hormuz is open to vessels that are traveling through. What he didn't mention is that the Iranians are launching surface-to-surface missiles and drones at vessels in the Persian Gulf. Harris?
Yeah, that's an important part. The fact that they're still on the offensive at this point in terms of energy. Great reporting as always. Trey Yinks, thank you very much. Gideon Sa'ar is the Israeli foreign minister, and I welcome him to the Faulkner Focus exclusively today. Look, I want to start with talking about the supreme leader, the new one that they say they've selected and put in place in Iran, Mojtaba and Khamenei, and just get your thoughts, dead or alive. There are conflicting reports. I want to start there. What are we dealing with him?
You ask a good question. Where is Mojtaba? I mean, they elected the leader. He's not there. You can hide, but it's better to show up. You can have a video and prove you are alive. It's starting to be embarrassing for the Iranian regime. So let's see, where is Mojtaba? It's an open question.
And that's the big problem. There's speculation that he's moved, that he has been sent to Russia. There is that speculation, but then there's also speculation that he's dead. So again, I don't know. And I feel like that is something that we should know, right? We should know what's going on here, right? All of us should. Even, most importantly, the Iranian people need to know. And at the end of the day, because here's the thing. If he said Mojtaba Khamenei, interesting. Mojtaba Khamenei, if he actually did lose his life and he's no longer here, it still doesn't, I mean, it does. I'm not sitting here saying that his life doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is, like, they could still find somebody else to take over that's still in the same that has the same goal as, say, Ali Khamenei, right? Couldn't they? So why would they go out of their way to lie about his livelihood, whether he's alive or not, if there's other people that could take his spot? You see what I'm saying? So again, I don't think that he's gone. I think he is alive. And until we hear anything otherwise, I just think that he's either in a coma or or something else is going on, right? But there's speculation that he's already flown and has kind of kicked rocks to Russia to try to get away from the situation that's going on in Iran. Obviously, if there's a hit out on your head, right? If there's a bounty on your head, yeah, you're going to try to get as far away as you can or hide out somewhere for as long as you can until things cool down a little bit, right? So interesting. Again, where he at? But that's the same thing I would say about Benjamin Netanyahu. Where he at? Now, apparently he did do a video recently today, but at the same time, still people are going, I don't believe it is AI. You see what I'm saying? So interesting stuff.
And what have your intelligence people been able to gather that you can share at this point, not just on his whereabouts, but what does the military and governmental infrastructure look like inside of that country now? Can they regather? Can they galvanize again quickly?
Well, a huge portion, most of it, of their not only military capabilities, but also military industries were destroyed, but we still have work to do there. And it is very important to keep this mad country. We see how they are acting against all their neighboring states, including the Arab states. They are shooting unprovoked on each of these states. They also use something which is close to modern piracy in the Strait of Hormuz. It is something very dangerous. The Houthis started to do that in the Red Sea during the war against us, but now it might become like a new practice of mad regimes, and that will affect the cost of the living everywhere. So they want to take the whole global community as an hostages. That must be stopped, and I think that we are lucky to have a world leader like President Trump that stood up to the challenge and is a leader in deeds. Think how much the world was safer if in previous decades we would have leaders that confronted that. For example, when North Korea tried to develop nuclear weapon, and eventually they did that because the threats that President Clinton said then was not translated to deeds. And now it's much less safer for the neighbors, for Japan, for North Korea. So it is very important when you see such a challenge to the world's security to act. And I think, as I said, we are lucky to have President Trump on board in the U.S. as much as we have Prime Minister Netanyahu here in Israel.
You know, one of the concerns that we've been kind of watching from interviewing and talking with just the public here in America is how the two countries, yours and ours, are working together. And I'm wondering, from your point of view in Israel as foreign minister, what is your political objective at this moment? Is it regime change? Roaring Lion and Operation Epic Fury are different militarily, but their goals and their objectives are what for you?
Well, from our perspective, we want to remove for the long term existential threats from the state of Israel. It is not our wish to go to a new war every year. So it is possibly very hard to do that with the current mad regime in Iran. So now we are trying to weaken this regime by hurting its, I would say, repressive branches like Revolutionary Guards, like the Basij, making it, I would say, possible for the Iranian people to get their freedom, to get their liberty. Eventually, it will be up to them, not to us. But honestly, it was not possible to do that, and it is not possible to do that without any kind of external help because we saw what the regime had done. They killed and they butchered thousands and thousands of their own people, and no one came to help them. So I believe that we should do our utmost, of course, to degrade their power, to threaten all this region, but in the same time, to try to create the conditions for the Iranian people in order to make this change possible.
Let me just say this. Somebody, Angela, just asked this, and I'm glad he asked. Angela, here it is. Why is Trump so untouchable? Because it's America. I know. Like, where's my proud to be an American? I mean, here it is. Think about it. As much as we see these constant videos being sent out by Iran, who basically saying this is epic fear. This is Operation Epic Fear. This is not Operation Epic Fury and all that. They are not going to try to, like, if they are to try something over here, they know that the reaction from America would be absolutely devastating. And the fact that here it is, you got, yes, I do think that Trump's not making great decisions right now. I think a lot of people, I feel like that's the general consensus, that he's not making the greatest of decisions right now, especially like just starting a war here. And then obviously we definitely need to talk about Cuba. We need to talk about Cuba, okay? Because there's stuff going on in Cuba as well. He's already talking about his sights are set on Cuba already. And I'm going, wait a second. We over here in Iran, can we figure out what's going on in Iran first before we start figuring out what's going on in Cuba? How about that? But Cuba's screwed right now too. Their energy is down. Their power is down. Their power grid is they're in a practical, complete, and total blackout right now in Cuba because they've been cut off from all their resources. They have been screwed. Okay, Cuba is in bad shape, and it's all because of Trump. I'm sorry, but that's true. As much as we want to sit here, and I know some people like, murder till I die. Okay, cool. But at the same time, let's speak about truths and let's speak about facts. Cuba has been cut off from all their resources. They are screwed. That is America's doing. That's not any other country. That is America's doing. Okay? We are literally starving them of all their resources, all their much needed resources. And of course, now the country itself is starting to implode. It's starting to fall apart from the inside out. That's what's happening right now. So we do need to talk about what's going on with Cuba. We will venture into that in a second. But at the same time, we already have all this stuff going on in Iran. We have a lot going on over there. But here's the thing. It would take a lot. Like, anyone tried to go do anything devastating in that regard, if you get what I'm saying, they would be getting a world of trouble. Because America, I agree, I do believe we have the best military in the world. I truly believe that. Yes, there are other ones that are very strong, very powerful as well, but we do have the best of the best. I do agree with that. I believe that truly. So for anyone to try to put a hit out, like, that would be insane. And it would not be executed at all, because they would have him protected at all costs. And he should be. But see, here's the thing. It's the same thing that I would say about Netanyahu, the same thing I would say about Mojtaba, Khamenei. We're learning how to pronounce their names properly. Like, you know what I'm saying? I would instantly assume that they would have serious security intel. Very, very strong and powerful and very attentive, right? Security surrounding them 24/7, especially in a time like this. And if any other company, any other country got involved in this situation, I would hope that their leaders would have the right type of protection to make sure that they're not in dire straits as well, so that they can continue leading their countries as well. You know what I mean? I don't want ill will on anybody. I think war is ridiculous. I don't think there's any reason for us to do this kind of stuff. But at the same time, we are in this bed, right? So we got to talk about it, right? So again, like I said, now they're sitting there going like, we need to see proof positive that this man, that Mojtaba, Khamenei is still alive. And I'd like to know too, him dead or him alive? But that's the same thing I want to know about Netanyahu. We see all these videos shot with kind of okay cameras. He got a 24-hour tan, perfect skin, etc. While he's sitting around talking with people, having coffee and smiles and stuff. It just seems weird. Catching him outside, I think that's a little weird, y'all. I truly, truly do. Now, we, of course, got a lot, a little bit to go through. So we're going to try to get in as much as we can. And there's some stuff. Oh, man, there's so much going on. There's so much going on, man. There's so much going on. Sometimes I wish I had more time with these shows to give you guys all of it, in one fell swoop. But we got to continue. Okay. So one thing is for sure. There's a lot of things that are percolating. There is speculation of a possible attack on Taiwan, which we're going to be talking about as well. There's obviously a conversation about Cuba. There's quite a bit of a conversation of that going on right now, which is absolutely wild. So let's get into some of this here. So let's talk about Cuba. I think this is interesting. Let's see what Trump had to say, because Trump had another press conference in his office, and he had quite a bit to say about a lot of things. But let's see what's going on with Cuba.
I don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world. I had an obligation to do this. I didn't want to, I call it an excursion. I didn't want to make this journey. We had the highest stock market in history. We had low gas prices. Everything was good. And I know exactly, I know what, you're going to do it. People are going to raise the price of oil. And that's good. But I know that. But that's a very small thing compared to allowing them to have, you want to see a stock market go down? Start letting them hit you with nukes, okay? I think, I said it this morning, I think it's a very small price to pay. And frankly, I thought it was going to go down much more, if you want to know the truth. I assumed that it was going to go down much more, only because people don't understand to a large, it's a big chess game at a very high level. It's a very high level chess, the highest. And I'm dealing with very smart players. These are smart people. They don't get there. When you deal with some of these people, you're dealing with high level intellect, very high IQ people. These are not Jasmine Crockett and her group. These are smart people. These are really smart people and violent people and vicious people and some very nice people. And some are very nice but violent. They turn violent. But you know what? If I didn't do what I did, we would have been hit. Number one, very important, was the termination of Obama's horrible deal. And number two, this beautiful plane hitting them 8 months ago, whatever it was, and taking out their nuclear capacity. That totally threw them for a loop. If they had that bomb at either time, 5 years ago or 7 months ago, if they had that bomb would have been used almost immediately.
Can I pause that for a second? I hate to push back, brother Trump, but let me ask this. You said a little bit ago that, yeah, he really went off on, he really threw in Jasmine Crockett in the conversation. All right. So here's the thing. All right. And I don't mean to push. I don't mean to push back. Okay. I don't mean to push back, but I'm going to say what I need to say here. Just a few days ago, you said within weeks they would have attacked us with nukes, or they would have attacked us, right? That they had, these very, very bad people were going to do something very, very bad. But if you stopped them 7 months ago, bringing in the B-2 bombers and they just drop bombs on those nuke sites, then what was this all for then? If you completely took them out, then what's the point? If you took out the threat 7 months ago, why are you saying now that they would have attacked within weeks if we didn't go and do something right then and there? You see what I'm saying? Now, here's the thing. I'm just me. I'm just a guy on a microphone. Okay. All right. I didn't study political science or anything of that sort. I'm just a person that is reacting to the world and the news that's going on in the world. Okay. But at the same time, that doesn't make sense to me. That goes against what he said a little bit ago. It's funny because I had a conversation with somebody about a week or so ago, and they said, love Trump, but he overshares too much. Like he talks too much, right? We already know he talks too much, but I feel like he talks himself into situations, into problems, because he'll misspeak or he goes back on what he said and he forgot what he said last week, which in this day and age, in this moment, in this stage in his political career right now, in his term, we need to hear, we hold on to every single last syllable that comes out of his mouth, because it could literally be life or death if you really think about it right now. That's why everybody's so concerned. If this was just another thing, dog and pony show, and it's all that, and he's just sitting there going, oh, I love him, and he's just talking about whatever, a turkey or something crap like that. No one cares. It's like, okay, cool. Trump doing his thing, whoop-de-woo. But the fact that he is literally making decisions where he's sending our best and brightest out and potentially sending out all of our troops or a good portion of our troops out to the Middle East. Yeah, we're literally hanging on every single word that he says, and we're holding on to it like it's scripture. So when he says something like that, I'm like, wait a second, you just said a second ago, wait, what? So then what's the truth then? What's really going on here? Why are we here? And then now, okay, Genobi said it. General Genobi asked the question, and I started looking into it a little bit, and apparently that is true. Genobi asked a very good question. He said, hey, is there a possibility that troops are, the actual soldiers are refusing to leave? And in actuality, that might actually be happening. There really might be troops refusing to go because they don't want to fight this war. They don't believe in this war. They don't see the reason of going and getting deployed for this freaking war. So again, this is a very, very odd situation. Let's continue on. But he's like, okay, we're going to take over this. We're going to take over that. You know what I mean? And then he talks about Cuba in this conversation as well. It's absolute. This is a mess.
Mr. President, two questions on domestic policy, bringing it close to home. First of all, the Save America Act. What are you expecting this week when this vote takes place in the U.S. Senate? Will the Vice President's vote be?
I think it's imperative that it gets done. I'm not sure it is. The Democrats have horrible policy. It's just incredible. But they stick together. It's the one thing they do. Their Supreme Court members stick together. Those appointed by a Democrat stick together. If Barack Hussein Obama appoints a member of the Supreme Court, that member never goes against him. And they're proud about it. They say, I don't give a damn if it's good or bad. That man appointed me, and I'm never going to let him down. I don't say that's right, wrong. I just say they stick together. Republicans go the opposite way. If Donald Trump appointed me, I'm going to show the world that I can be totally just, and I can be independent of Donald Trump. He's not controlling me. And I don't want to control them. I just want to have smart decisions. They gave us a decision on tariffs the other day. That won't change tariffs. I can do it a different way. I always knew I could do it a different way. This was a little quicker, a little easier, a little better. But they gave it a decision that could cost this country $500 billion to pay people back, because now I have to start the tariffs all over again. Very simple. And what happens with the money I've already collected? Why didn't they say, starting from now, go the other way? $500 billion, perhaps. It's so sad. But one thing about the Democrats, they stick together like glue. They impeached me twice for absolutely no reason.
Here we go.
Unanimously. Fortunately, the Republicans stuck together, and it was something. It was pretty wild. But the Democrats have horrible policy, transgender for everybody, open borders, men playing in women's sports. But the one thing they do have is they stick together, no matter how bad the policy. It's embarrassing to watch them try to defend it. And
just so you know, I sped it up a little bit, okay?
And in a way, I say, as a Republican, in a way, I say, thank goodness they have bad policy, because you'd never beat them. We have something in there now, the Save America Act, voter ID with a picture, right? That's a 99% issue. Even among Democrats, Democrats poll at 89% on that. And then they have proof of citizenship. And then they have no mail-in ballots. No mail-in ballots. We have no mail-in. You go to California, they send out like 38 million ballots. Some Democrats got 7, 8 ballots. Republicans are a lot of times calling in, where's my ballot? Where's my ballot? They're lucky to get one. Jimmy Carter, probably the greatest thing he ever did. I thought he was a nice man, not a great president, to put it mildly. How did his attack work out in Iran? Not too good. I think ours is slightly better, wouldn't you say? But Jimmy Carter, the one thing he did after he left with Scoop Jackson and some others, they formed a very elite council, committee that came out and said very strongly, no mail-in ballots, because we're the only country in the world that has mail-in ballots like we do. The only country in the whole world. People have tried it. France tried it, and they went away. They're now doing paper ballots, watermark paper, which is very hard to cheat. So when you look at what happens with this country, we really have to fix it. That'll be very popular. The other thing we put in there, just as best of, I call it the best of Trump. We have the 3 things I just said, right? But then I added on no men playing in women's sports, and I added in no transgender surgery, the mutilation of our children. We have no mutilation of our children, no transgender. I think they say that's an 80% issue. I think they're 99% issues, but whether they're 80% or 99, the problem is we have a couple of Republicans. They shouldn't be allowed. They're horrible people, and they're willing to vote against anything. And we have all the Democrats will vote against it. So I think it hurts the Democrats to vote against it, because I'm going to instruct all the Republicans to say that so-and-so that they're running against voted against the saving of our children from transgender mutilation, right? That's pretty unpopular. They want men in women's sports. That's pretty unpopular. They want voter ID, but the Democrats don't. Everybody wants voter ID. Everybody wants proof of citizenship. And most people don't want mail-in voting because they know it's a fraud. Touches too many hands. I mean, the postman gets it, this one gets it, that one. So these are all issues that are in the 90s to 100. I would say some are virtually 100%. And the interesting thing is that way, not only with the Republic, I'm not talking about leadership, I'm talking about they're that way also, most importantly, with the people. The people of our country want voter ID. The people of our country want proof of citizenship. And that includes 88%, 89% of Democrats. And I think the Republicans, Eric Schmidt, Rick Scott, Tim Scott, I speak to so many of them, they all want it. I hope John Thune can get it across the line. He's trying. I mean, he told me this morning, I spoke to him, he's trying. I think it'll be a very, very bad thing for our country if they don't. We're just asking for basic things. Think of it. You can't have voter ID. You know, in California, if you ask a person to show their identification, they have the right to put you in jail. If you're an official and you say, man, please see your identification, you're subject to going to jail. That's how crazy it's gotten. With a low IQ person, you know, because Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think the president should not have learning disabilities, okay? And I know it's highly controversial to say such a horrible thing. The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, "But I'm smarter than you," or something like that. That was pretty simple. So now on top of everything else, I call him a racist because it happened to be a black audience. I will tell you this. I think it was the worst interview I've ever seen of any human being in my life. Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Ay. Ay, caramba. Yeah, he did call Gavin Newsom president. He did. He said President Newsom. He's like, oh yeah, because he's got a reading, he's got a learning disability. So therefore, no president should have a learning disability. Not at all. I'm not going to say anything. We're going to continue on, but come on. Yeah, he's just shooting from the hip right now. You know what I'm saying? He just likes to talk. He does. That's true. That's him. That's Trump. You know what I mean?
On Iran, will it be necessary to use even a limited ground force to secure whatever nuclear material remains in Iran as part of that threat? No. And secondly, have you made a decision?
You mean to go in and get it?
Yes, sir.
Why would I tell you a thing like that?
And secondly,
I can't say to reporters, sir, will you attack Karg Island? Will you occupy Karg? They ask me these questions. And I don't want to be mean, but they're stupid questions. If any president answered those questions, they shouldn't be president.
So in other words, that means yes, they're about to do that. Think about that for a second, y'all. Think about that for a second. He just said, are you, actually, you know what? I'm just going to replay it. Hold on. What did he say? What did he say? In complaint? Dude, listen to it.
And secondly,
I can't say to reporters, sir, will you attack Karg Island?
Yes, you did. Did he not? Moving on. Next part.
Will you occupy Karg? They ask me these questions. And I don't want to be mean, but they're stupid questions.
You want to know why it's a stupid question? Because it's a logical question, but also at the same time, this means that he's going to go occupy Karg Island. I think that's fair to assess. When he's sitting there going, that's just a stupid question. Anytime, okay, I've noticed this is something I've noticed as of late, and I don't think it works. I'm not sitting here saying it works 110% of the time, but it works a good amount of times. Anytime that he gets defensive and he goes off on that particular reporter, he says it's dumb, or he thinks that they're a terrible news media company, that they represent like the worst of the worst. Whenever he says any of that, that means they asked him a good question that he doesn't want to answer. But then he answers it by throwing out venomous remarks, insults. That's a dumb question. That's the dumbest question I've ever heard. You guys are the worst. You're the worst media. CNN, I don't like you. You're the worst. Oh, Washington Post, you're the worst. As soon as they ask a question that even remotely happens to be a question that challenges him in what he's been doing. So a question like that, oh, are you gonna attack Karg Island? He did. Are you going to occupy it? And he's like, these are stupid questions. Because for a fact that's exactly what he's about to do. Okay, let's be real. All right. As soon as he goes, this is the dumbest question in the world, it's his tell. It's you're fake news. Get out of my face. You're trash. Same thing with Caroline. Caroline does the same doggone thing. As soon as they ask a good question, like, remember the time? Okay, do you remember the time? Remember when that homegirl from CNN was asking a question to Caroline about deaths, the soldiers, and asking, why can't we, really, what's a big deal about talking about the deaths of these soldiers and all that? And she just went nuts. And she's like, that's why you guys don't get views. Next question. You know what I mean? Caroline went Caroline on that CNN reporter. Remember that? Remember that ish? Yeah. Yeah, it's a tell. And then guess what happened that later on that day? We found out that there were a lot more people that were hurt. And then we found out more people actually died. So what the F? Don't you find that interesting? Tells, guys. These are tells. You're fake news. You suck. Worst news ever. You know what I mean? Every time. It's just their MO. If they ask a question that hits home, that hits the target, they retaliate real fast. Haven't you noticed that?
If any president answered those questions, they shouldn't be president.
And secondly, sir, do you still plan to travel to Beijing and the end of this?
I don't know. We're working on that right now. We're speaking to China. I'd love to, but because of the war, I want to be here. I have to be here, I feel. And so...
He has to be here. He can't leave. Do you understand that he can't leave? Y'all, this is the truth. He can't really leave. It would be dumb for him to leave right now. It'd be dumb for him to leave in a month. If this war continues to going on the way it's going on, no, he should not leave anywhere. He needs to keep his ass grounded. Yes, play golf in the backyard of mother-loving the White House. Do not get into a plane and fly anywhere. Stay here until the war has, whatever's going on in Iran, in the Middle East, has calmed down. There's no reason for him to be flying over to China to have a talk with Xi Jinping. That would be the dumbest thing and most dangerous thing you could ever do. You are literally, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You understand that, right? Come on now. That would be dumb. That would be so dumb. Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
We've requested that we delay it a month or so, and I'm looking forward to being with him. We have a very good relationship, but because of the war, there's no tricks to it either. It's not like, oh, gee, I'm waiting. It's very simple. We got a war going on. I think it's important that I be here. You know? So
he thinks it's important that he should be here. That means he doesn't want to get nuked from the sky. Okay? He doesn't want to get blown out of the sky. But he does. He still wants to, make it seem like he's untouchable, which he basically is, really. If you really think about it, there's been plenty of attempts and plenty of threats. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing just fine. Okay, he don't look stressed. That tan is still intact. You know what I'm saying? He has not missed one meal. He's doing just fine. Okay. So again, like I said, it would be like he's going, oh, I just don't think it, I need to stay here. No, he needs to stay here because things are heightened. Let's be real. Things are very much heightened.
it could be that we delay it a little bit. Not much. Peter?
When you say Cuba is next.
Cuba.
Here we
Cuba,
go.
whatever you do with the military there, it seems like something. Will that look more like Iran or Venezuela?
Can't tell you that. I can tell you that they're talking to us. It's a failed nation. They have no money. They have no oil. They have no nothing.
Yeah, but you're cut off of their resources. That's a why. That's a why, Trump. That's a why. That's why Cuba is falling apart. It's because he cut off their resources, guys. Come on, resources are done. Okay? Come on.
They have nice land. They have nice landscape, you know. It's a beautiful island. I think they have great people. You know, I know so many people from Cuba that were treated terribly, and they're over here and they became rich. They're very entrepreneurial people, very smart. I know a lot from Florida, especially. There's so many people. A friend of mine started over with nothing. He's now the largest owner of gas stations in the country and stuff. I mean, Cuban. I also know I was just with a fantastic person who's Cuban and made a fortune in sugar. You know, Fanjul family, right? And this family wants to go back to Cuba to visit it. They haven't been back in like 50 years or something. They largely come from Cuba. And we'll see what happens. They were asking me about that. They want to go back. Not only Fanjul, a lot of Cubans have said, oh boy, would they love to go back. I think Cuba, I don't know, in its own way, if tourism and everything else, it's a beautiful island, great weather. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change, you know. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week. But I think Cuba see the end. You know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. You know, when will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba.
Okay, so now he's saying he's going to take over Cuba. Remember what I said, several weeks ago? Didn't I say imperialism? Imperialism 101. We are seeing that in real time. Yeah. Yeah, what the F? Yeah, wow. Yeah, chocolate bleu. All of that, okay? Ay, Dios mío. All that, okay? All of it. All of it. All of it. Here we go. Here we go. So now he is finally saying the quiet part out loud. We already have Venezuela for the most part. No, we didn't like put a flag on it and say, I name thee Republic. You know what I mean? Like we didn't do that. Not with Venezuela, but we basically have them under our wing until something changes, right? We over there in Iran doing stuff with Iran. Let's be real. In my personal opinion, the plan is to take over that ish. Seriously, I really do think we're going to strong arm control over Iran. We're going to try. Let me just say that operative word is try to strong arm and take over by force Iran. Don't know if that's going to be possible or not yet, but let's see what happens. Anything's possible. He might walk in. He might win. They might put down all their weapons and say, you win, boss. You win. Take this oil. All right. Assalamu alaikum. You know what I mean? Like, you never know. I don't know. But what I do know is that's still pending. Remember Greenland? Remember when he tried it with Greenland? That didn't work out. That didn't really work out. But he was interested for a second there until he wasn't interested anymore. Because then he started setting his sights on Iran. Because Iran was already falling apart and Iran was saying, please, help us, right? And what did he do? He said, okay, I'll wait and see what's going on. And then now he struck. We've been 2 weeks into this mug already, right? So maybe that's what's going on. Imperialism. His own version of imperialism, taking it over bit by bit. Now he's looking at Cuba. Now he wants to see if he can take it over for good. And now he's sitting here saying it'd be an honor. I'd be honored to take over Cuba. And I'm curious, what for? Vacation land? What does Cuba have that America would want or Trump would want? I'm asking these are very just normal, logical questions. I'm curious because, again, it's not oil. It's definitely not oil. It's vacation land. He just stated it. He said it out loud. Very great land. Beautiful, beautiful island. Beautiful country. Not in the area of like hurricanes. So it's not like you constantly have to send over money to help them when they get hit by a hurricane, blah, blah, blah. Right? Vacation land, a full-on resort. His own Epstein. Oh, golly. Yeah. Think about that for a second. Put that in your pipe and smoke on it for a second. Let's hear the rest of this. We got an article to look at here about Cuba.
That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I can do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now. They were for a long time. Very violent leaders. Castro was a very violent leader. His brother's a very violent leader. Extremely violent. That's how they governed. They governed with violence. But a lot of people would like to go back.
So in other words, he basically he is really literally right now turning Cuba out. Yeah. He is straight up trying to turn Cuba into a geek. Yeah. You know the term geek? Like the circus term geek? Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, he's trying to turn Cuba out. He's trying to turn Cuba into his own geek. I know that sounds weird, but just look up like a circus geek. Okay? And you'll understand what I'm saying. Straight up. to the point, like you deprive them of things, you make them desperate, you make them realize that make them think that you are in control, that you have all the power, that whatever they need, you possess. And they'll do whatever they need, whatever they need to do to please you so that they can get whatever that is, right? When it comes to like a circus geek, when these freak shows that they would have in these circuses, these would be the most depraved of depraved that have been turned out by one of the people in the circus. And then they would just be like that disturbing individual, the freak of the actual circus, stuff like that, right? So what he's doing right now is he's depriving Cuba of their needs, of the much needed sustenance so that they can continue living on. And then when he finally gives it to them, they're going to be so thankful, so willing to do whatever it takes to get that stuff that Trump has, those resources that he has at his fingertips, that they'll be willing to just damn near give anything to Trump. You want the country? Take it. At least the people of the country. That's what I think he's trying to do. He's trying to turn Cuba into his own circus geek. Sorry, but that's what I'm feeling. Hear me out. Let's look at this right quick. Take a look at this here. Okay? Cuba's power grid collapsed after weeks of U.S. oil blockade. So, Cuba's electrical grid suffered a total collapse across the entire island today, the country's power operator said, marking the latest nationwide blackout in recent years and the first since the U.S. effectively shut off the flow of oil to the island of roughly 10 million people. You cut them off, they start going crazy. Suddenly they start losing other opportunities like power and other things, other natural resources, other natural things that they need to live. They go crazy. America swoops in to solve the problem. And they go, do whatever you need. I just need my power back on. I need clean water. I need food again. I need gas to drive my car to and from work, so on and so forth. We are seeing a country version of a Diddy. I said it. I said it. And this time, instead of it being baby oil, it's actual oil. Real talk. And instead of plying them with substances, he's taking all that stuff away from them. Efforts are underway to restore power across the country, the state-owned operator said, adding that no faults were detected in the electrical units operating at the time the grid actually collapsed. So nationwide power outages have been reported frequently over the past few years. Cuban officials have previously attributed them to U.S. economic sanctions, though critics have also faulted a lack of investment in the island's ailing generation system. Cuba heavily relies on oil for electricity generation. Washington's effective blockade of fuel shipments has worsened the country's energy crisis, causing intermittent power cuts, a rationing of medical supplies, and a decrease in tourism, officials have said. That's a big problem. That's cutting into their economy as well. You see what I'm saying? You deprive them of those things, and then you swoop in and you give them that thing. You give them what they need, and they go, I will do whatever. And they're ravenously, they're not even thinking about what you're doing. They don't see the sleight of hand. They don't see the abracadabra because they're busy trying to get their sustenance, right? Their food, their gas, their water, whatever it may be that you're depriving them of, their electricity and power. You see? He's trying to turn this country out Okay. Fuel prices have skyrocketed so much that gas can be as much as $9 a liter on the unofficial market, meaning it costs more than $300 to fill up a car's gas tank. Have mercy! Which is more than most Cubans earn in a year. You see what I'm saying? Deprive them of everything. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment. Officials in the U.S. government must be feeling very happy by the harm caused to every Cuban family. This is what the Cuban Deputy Foreign Minister, Carlos de Cosio, said in response to Monday's blackout. Miguel, an Airbnb host in the beach resort of Veradero, told CNN that the city is often spared from blackouts, but this outage has affected them too, given its scope. This is bad. Havana resident Machin told Reuters that the latest power outage doesn't surprise her and that civilians should prepare themselves with wood-burning stoves, with solar panels for those who can get them, with some water reserves for people who have water problems, and with some gas reserves for those who have them. So another musician said that the blackout would affect his work, but acknowledged that there's nothing we can do but face it and keep moving forward, see what happens. On Saturday, residents of the central Cuban city of Moron took to the streets to protest problems with the electricity supply and access to food. See what's going on here? This is only going to escalate even more. It's going to escalate even more. And then what's going to happen? Trump's going to swoop in. Here I come to save the day. You know what I'm saying? Cuban President Diaz-Canel said Friday that no oil had been delivered to the island in the last 3 months. So they've been cut off from oil for the last 3 freaking months. He also said on Friday that Cuban officials have held talks with the U.S. to identify the bilateral problems that need a solution. The impact of the blockade is tremendous, is most brutally manifested in these energy issues, the president said. This causes anguish among the population. In response to the energy crisis, the government has announced energy measures, including reduced school hours, postponing major sporting and cultural events, and cutting transport services. Many government-run hospitals have cut services. And lack of fuel and working dump trucks has caused trash to pile up across whole neighborhoods. On nearly every street corner, conversations center on when power cuts are taking place and for how long. At night in Havana, the stars are often clearly visible as most of the city is swathed in near total darkness. Now, let me tell you something. There's going to be upheaval, and they're going to start blaming the government. They're going to start blaming leadership. They're going to start blaming this, and guess what? Trump's going to swoop in. He gonna save the day. This is what we're seeing in Iran. Remember the turmoil and the upheaval that we saw, the protests and all that, and they were begging Trump to come in and save the day. Now we're over there. Are we not? People were dancing and shucking and jiving in the streets when we took over Venezuela. We took the head. We didn't decapitate him, but he's locked up for good. Maduro, when America took out Maduro from Venezuela, people were dancing in the streets, happy as hell. Finally, somebody doing something about it. Trump wanted something else from there. He wanted that oil. When it comes to Iran, he wants that oil. He's going there for the people. That's the facade. Behind that, there's a deeper goal here, and that is the oil. That liquid gold. I love it. I love it. That liquid gold. Drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill. We're going to drill, y'all. He doesn't say y'all, but you know what I'm saying. We're going to drill. Drill, baby, drill. And that's exactly what we're seeing over there. He tried to get that Greenland. That didn't work out. That didn't work out. But he probably still has that in his back pocket. He's still thinking about that Greenland. Just right now, he's going, well, I can get that over there. Because we are a powerful force, which we are. So he wants more. Now, Cuba, I feel like that's just like, yo, that is just vacation. That is a vacation spot. Okay, I'm about to say something crazy. Okay, I always say something crazy. But I'm about to say something crazy, okay? Think about this. He is literally doing what he does if he wasn't president, but on a global level. Think about that for a second. You know how it is. He'll see a property, let's just say, back in the day. I'm not talking about right now. Let's imagine him not being a president, okay? Think about this. He goes in, he sees a property. He likes it, he takes it, right? He puts in the money or whatever. He strong arms the person who actually did own it or the person who's trying to outbid him, so on and so forth, and he gets it, right? But he does it, and it's like a war, right? It's a little tit for tat. It's a little bing, bang, boom, but then he gets what he wants, right? So he's getting these properties because something on top, underneath the property is what he's interested in. Underneath those buildings is what he's interested in. It's the property. It's the land that he's really interested in, right? Right? Now, he wants a vacation spot. Yeah. Think about that at a most global level. Now he wants a vacation spot. And that happens to be Cuba. Now, maybe what I'm saying sounds completely ate up, but if you really think about it, think about it. He's going to Venezuela. He likes the property because underneath that land is rich with oil. That's why he went there. That's what he got. Sure, he's going in there to save a lot of people, but underneath that is that liquid gold. So he wants to get that land. He takes the land. We look at Iran, same thing. Sure, he wants to help the people. That's at the surface. Underneath, though, is that land, is that liquid gold. He wants his hands on it. So he wants to get that property. He wants to buy. He wants to own that property. America style. Then he's like, oh, well, Cuba's a communist country, and they're already screwed. So let's just take it. Perfect vacation land. Let's do it. And we'll own it. You see what I'm saying? Just at a grander scale. It's wild, but it's interesting. Remember what he was trying to do with Gaza? With the Gaza Strip? Remember, there was a huge plan. I don't know if it's happening anymore because there was a whole signing and, peace in the Middle East. This took 2,000 years to happen. You know what I mean? And what happened? It didn't happen. But he had plans for a phase. He had phases, a multi-tiered phase on what he was going to do with Gaza. Gaza was going to be a completely different situation. It was going to be nothing but vacation spots, beautiful real estate, businesses were going to be going in there. You see what I'm saying? He had plans for Gaza. I don't know if it's going to happen anytime soon now, but he had plans for Gaza. Gaza was going to be like damn near a resort, okay? With high tech, with AI, like basically a Silicon Valley in the Middle East. It's literally what they wanted to do. They signed papers, peace in the Middle East. We're all going to make a lot of money. And then everything fell apart because now he dropped bombs on Iran. Now we're just seeing all this crazy stuff that's going on, right? Now, again, like I said, What I'm saying, these are just my theories. I may sound absolutely insane right now. But one thing that's for sure is we are dealing with the president or a person that is into real estate. He knows about land. He knows about the values of those lands, etc. He's very interested in those things. And now he's just doing it at a much bigger level. Okay? Just a much bigger level. And now he's bringing in, and now it's not even about him buying it. He's just taking it by force, by bringing in the most powerful military in the world to take those lands over. Something to think about. Now he's looking at Cuba going, you know? It'd be a great honor to take Cuba. What does he need Cuba for? He doesn't need Cuba. We don't need Cuba. We don't. But he's going to take it because he can. So now that's going to happen next week. You know what I mean? Come next week, he's going to be taking over Cuba. And we'll be watching it in real time. It's going to be absolutely insane. But we got to talk about this really quick, okay? We have got to talk about this, okay? Real quick. There's some other really crazy stuff that's going on. And now we are in the world, okay? We are in the world of with the possibility of World War III, maybe? Kind of? We got to go over to Politico to talk about this because Taiwan... there's so much going on with Taiwan right now, okay? There's a lot of reports coming from Taiwan saying that there is a large-scale military presence, Chinese military presence, near the island of Taiwan. Yeah. You got North Korea shooting out missiles out into the ocean in the direction of Taiwan. Like, I'm not kidding. You got all these people because now they're all itching. They're seeing what Trump is doing in the Middle East. They're seeing a lot of people looking over there. So they're like, ooh, but Taiwan, though. Taiwan looking hella sexy, though. And they're all trying to go after it now. Or they're at least teasing it. All right? They're teasing the possibility of them going and jumping in on that. Yeah. While we're all over here, they're going, let's just sail over there and see what's going on. You know, what harm is that? We're just sailing by. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. It's crazy. Doesn't matter. It's like pulling by, driving by your ex's house in the middle of the night. You shouldn't be doing it. I'm just pulling by just to see if there's anybody there. If there's a new car in the driveway, it's not crazy. No shots fired. I'm just passing through. I'm just taking the long way home. This isn't crazy. It's crazy, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. Don't do it. But let's take a look at this. This is crazy. Okay? You got Chinese military aircraft just sailing through. You know what I'm saying? Just coming by, just like, woo, let's see what's going on with. Oh, okay, so there's that island. It's still there. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. This is crazy. So Taiwan saw a surge, of Chinese military planes near the island. Its defense ministry said on Sunday. After a sharp drop in flights over the past 2 weeks had sparked discussions among observers. The ministry detected 26 Chinese military aircraft around the island on Saturday. Yeah, stop stalking. We're over. It's through. You know what I mean? Damn it, Michael. Michael, it's over. You know what I'm saying? But I was just driving. I was just trying to see if you were good. You know, it was late night. I was just alone. I just wanted to see if you were out. Maybe you wanted to Netflix and chill. You know what I'm saying? Damn, girl. I just wanted to see if you just wanted to Netflix and chill. I just thought I was in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I was just getting some bok choy. You feel me? And you know, damn, girl. Shoot. Just wanted to see if you were up. Damn. That's crazy, guys. Don't do that. Don't do that. China, don't do this. Okay? Don't do this. 26 aircraft around the island flying by, just seeing, just chilling. With 16 of them entering its northern, central, and southwestern air defense identification zone. So there are also, oh, dear Lord. They pulled up right up in the front lawn. They just pulled right up in the front lawn. Okay? And they stopped for a second and then they flew away. Like, that's the dumbest thing you could ever do. 7 naval ships were spotted around the island, it reported. I'm telling you right now, if something goes down in Taiwan, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Okay? It's a wrap. The increased number of aircraft came after the ministry reported a fall that left analysts scratching scratching their head about the Chinese military, what the Chinese military might be up to. Taiwan didn't report any Chinese military planes that went beyond the median line and entered the zone for a week from February 27th to March 5th. After 2 were detected on March 6th, the next 4 days had none. Such flights resumed in small numbers between Wednesday and Friday. The drop coincided with the annual meeting of Chinese legislator, which such flights have fallen in the past during major events and public holidays. This year's fall was more prominent than in the past. Analysts said the meeting could not be the sole reason behind the recent drop. Another potential factor could be a desire to calm the waters with Washington weeks before a visit by Trump. Okay. The White House has said that Trump would travel to China from the time of March 31st to April 2nd, though Beijing has not officially confirmed that. And let me tell you, Trump should not go. In fact, I don't think Trump should tell anybody where he's about to go. Just saying that. Trump should not tell anybody where he's about to go right now. He shouldn't. He ain't going nowhere. Not over there. He don't want, trust me, that would be the dumbest thing for him to do. Some observers also suggested the decline may be driven by a shift to a next phase in China's military training and modernization, with the army appearing to be exploring a new model for joint training between its forces. China has vowed to seize the island by force if necessary. Over the years, Beijing has sent warplanes and Navy vessels toward the island on a near daily basis. Taiwan's military previously signaled that it wasn't changing its defense posture because of the fall off in Chinese warplane activity. Defense Minister Kouri earlier noted that China's Navy has remained active in nearby waters, even as military flights have fallen off. China and Taiwan have been governed separately since 1949, when the Communist Party rose to power in Beijing following a civil war. Defeated nationalist party forces fled to Taiwan, which later transitioned from martial law to multi-party democracy. So again, right now, I'm just telling you right now, if there was some crazy thing going off, all right? If there was some crazy thing going off with Taiwan, World War III would start. That's it. If bad things happen, if China goes in there and tries to get in there and tries to infiltrate and tries to take over Taiwan, everybody in their mind would be a part of that. It'd be a wrap, guys. It'd be a wrap. Actually, I don't know how we would handle it because we'd be in the Middle East dealing with what's going on in the Middle East. So I don't know what we would be doing about that situation, but we would be in a world of trouble. The world would be in a world of trouble as well. Okay? This is not what we want. But it seems like the Chinese military is going out of their way to tease just to see like, let me just get a little bit closer. Let me just see if we go over here, let's just see what's going on. Let's just fly around and just see what's going on, right? Ex-boyfriend driving by the crib, I just wanted to see the crib. I just wanted to see, man. I just wanted to see, I just wanted to see if there was another car, new car in the driveway. You know what I'm saying? Just maybe the lights are on. Maybe she's home by herself. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to drive by. Hey, it's totally innocent to just drive by. No, it's insane. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't do it. So they doing a slow creep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Goddess. Yes. Okay. They want on the slow creep. Yeah. They are trying to go in and they're slowly, exactly, Shreka. They're trying to like slowly, nonchalantly instigating. It's a soft instigating. But Taiwan is watching and they're going, wait a second. Y'all getting a little bit too close. And now you got boats out here too? You got warships driving by? What the hell's going on? And I don't know. I don't know if it's a situation where China's like, yo, well, we see them busy over here, though. So let's see what we could do right now, though. Or maybe they're trying to poke a sleeping bear in hopes that sleeping bear, Taiwan, just retaliates out of nowhere. And then you got yourself a war. In a way, it's like, we don't want to go and fly in and just drop bombs. Like, we ain't going to do a Trump thing. We ain't going to be savage like that. We ain't going to do that. But if they come out and there's a dogfight in the air, well, then they started it. So we might as well finish it. You see what I'm saying? So that could be it too. Warships showing up on the outskirts of Taiwan. Then Taiwan's boats come out. Suddenly they're just, you know what I'm saying? Having a little standoff. And then they're sinking each other's battleships. Just saying. So again, this is not good. This is no bueno. If this is to happen, this is all no bueno. Just saying that out loud. We don't want that to happen. We don't. We already have enough carnage going on in the Middle East. Again. We got better things to do than to deal with that crap. Let's just keep it a bean. Let me get these super chats here really quick. Renee, thank you so much. Just coming in. What's the latest? Hopefully you caught all that. Okay, there's a lot going on. And, tomorrow morning we'll be talking more with more crap going on because there's a lot going on. And I'm sure there's going to be other meetings and other press conferences and more BS flying left and right like crazy. All right, Kouri, thank you so much for the love. We should take Cuba back. We used to ours. Huh? We used to ours. I think you're saying it used to be ours, maybe? I think you're saying it used to be ours after the Spanish-American War. Yeah, I mean, here it is. Let's be real. If we are able to take it back without any casualty, without any issue, like a Maduro kind of situation, they went in, they got Maduro, and it was a wrap. No one lost it. From what we understand, no one lost their lives. There was a few injuries, but that was about it. Right? Shoot. Okay. Then it is what it is. Right? Save those people. But cutting them off from what they need is also very dangerous. It can be very, very dangerous. But I think this is exactly what Trump wants to do. Like I said, I think he's trying to turn Cuba out so that Cuba literally bends at his will. So we'll see what happens. We will definitely see what happens, though. For sure. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Because he's making it very interesting. But now the question is, all of this interest and all of this entertainment, is it getting dangerous yet for us? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Really means the world to me. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. If you could do me a favor before you head out, do me the solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. And if you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Please and thank you. Subscribe. That would be amazing. Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. A lot of times it's breaking news or whenever I can get on. So make sure that notification bell is set to all. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Check it out. PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.